Talk Radio 102.3 WGOW, FM Saudi Daisy, Chattanooga. I'm looking forward to asking Zach. Dean's going to Washington, D.C. with us as well this afternoon. A small contingency of movers and shakers and important people, and then a bunch of us, media types, heading up there. Delegation from Chattanooga to go officially break in the new nonstop flight between Chattanooga and the nation's capital. And tomorrow we're scheduled to meet, of course, both senators. And Fred Thompson going to be in here on Friday in town as well. But right now I got Dean Arnold in here for me. Chattanooga Fax, are you still with the Chattanooga Fax? How long is there?
2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. So it comes out this week, next week, and that's it. Sayonara, huh?
That's it.
That's sad.
8 years.
I was just about to say, it's just been darn close to a decade.
Yeah, it has.
And tell everybody, I know I was on vacation when I guess you announced that,
right.
that you were shutting it down.
Right.
So I missed any and all things that you had to say about it. Very, very briefly, tell everybody why. The Chattanooga Fax, for those who do not know, we you quoted it many, many times, so I don't think a week would by when I didn't get some topic from it, and of course wrote a bi-weekly column for it. It was a little 3 or 4 page little fax newsletter that just went out, had a very conservative slant for the most part, especially in the beginning, editorial side of things, and hit some issues that most people don't cover around here. The facts among some, stayed on the Tory Hardy case pretty hard. Covered the spats over at Chattanooga State pretty deeply, and most of the other media outlets around here, just ignore that stuff. It's just too much of a story for them. What happened? Why? What's the deal?
Well, the federal government passed some legislation about a year ago called the Consumer Telecommunications Protection Act, or Telecommunications Consumer Protection, or something. It was the groundswell against telemarketing and email spam,
which we all love. We love the groundswell against telemarketing and email spam. I hate that stuff.
Well, and I understood that at some point broadcast faxing was going to get some screws put on it too. But the legislation that was already in place, I thought was pretty good, which was the states had it, and I used it in Tennessee for years, and that was
they said don't.
So you can send them one unsolicited fax. You got the number on the top there very clearly. If someone doesn't want any more, they call you, say, take me off your list. But I think there was some questions about if someone can use a little bit of your ink and a little bit of your paper without your permission, that's sort of stealing from you. So I figured that was going to come down the pipe. But what happened was they were talking about email spam, they were talking about telemarketing, and then someone said along the way, well, we probably ought to deal with faxing too. It's kind of an old technology, and no one's really dealing with it that much. But someone said, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's throw faxing in there.
Just dumped it in there.
They dumped it in there, but what they did, because email and telemarketing is current, they had all sorts of caveats and exceptions and all sorts of things. They really massaged those laws so it all works for everybody. But no one was really caring about broadcast faxing. They just sort of threw that in there, and there was no one representing those interests. So they don't have the loopholes. And I think if they did, someone like me who's more of a news service than an advertiser would have been able to pull it off.
See this crap?
Yeah, what is all that?
The Classic Daily. Pages and pages of the Classic Daily. There's unwanted faxes. I didn't ask for that fax. I didn't ask for these things. Look at this stuff.
There you go.
Look at this. All of this stuff. The Republican National Committee, the Democratic National Committee, NAACP, the county government.
My understanding is my understanding that's going to happen until
people booking guests, books, videos.
That's going to happen until January. The FCC came out with an announcement saying we are not going to enforce the Consumer Telecommunications Protection Act for faxing until January. We're going to give broadcast faxers and whoever else is in this enough time to get a written signature so that they can have approval to fax someone on a regular basis. And so starting January, you'll probably see lots of fines.
Well, so what's the reasoning? Why not go ahead and battle it out until January? And why not go ahead and try to get enough signatures to keep it going? Just too much work?
The second was definitely too much work. Human nature is just, it'd be almost like an act of Congress to go out there and get 8,500 signatures, which is the number of fax machines I had.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. You had that many?
Yeah, 8,500.
I said I was guessing 1,500 this morning.
Yeah, 8,500.
Whoa!
Yo,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Now, and the other reason is, and to be honest with you, I've done it for 8 years, and I've enjoyed it. But it's been mostly a one-man band. I'm the seller, I'm the publisher, I'm the computer technician, and it's been a great way to have First Amendment stuff going on in this town. It's been a great way to make an impact. But after 8 years of that stuff, you're ready to move on and do some different things. I'm writing books.
You're buckling under the pressure. You couldn't take the heat. Once you put me on the staff, all those letters and emails you got saying, what the hell Styles doing on it? Get that liberal out of here. Your once good paper, you're just buckling. You couldn't stand it anymore.
No, that got my juices going. I enjoyed that part. Did you see the art of the publication I put out last week?
Yes, I did.
Did you see the line where I said that you coming on actually uncovered the the populist and truth-seeking underbelly of the conservative face?
I liked that.
Yeah,
I liked that. I appreciate that. Those are kind words. I enjoyed writing the column, and I got a lot of response from them. There were a few that actually generated rather LinkedIn, well thought out letters from people out there who just really, liked having their consciences pricked a little bit. Well,
I think we talked about this at the very beginning when you came on, but when you came on as a columnist, but print media is different. It's a lot less instant gratification.
Sure.
But it lasts longer.
Well, I was going to say,
you're going to see those columns, 15, 20 years from now, they're going to appear out of a filing cabinet, and someone's going to show it to you, and
absolutely,
it's going to be here and it's going to be there, and it's going to last a lot longer. But what you say on the airways kind of just
puff of air.
Yeah.
Unless some idiot out there is rolling tape trying to trap me in some sort of, obscenity.
Yeah, but
they'll probably.
You get 1 or 2% of the kind of response, immediate feedback you get on this medium. This is a fun medium for that. So it's different, it's thoughtful, it's reflective, it's lasting.
I don't know if I ever asked you the Chattanooga Fax. Did you actually get the idea from another town, from another person, or did this was just a brainstorm that just bubbled up one day?
I was working at the Chattanooga Resource Foundation as a kind of a Christian political activist, whatever, and we were getting on 2 or 3 times a week. We get from Gary Bauer, the Christian family
research
guru
council,
working for James Dobson. Yeah. He would send this fax 2 or 3 times a week. It was just real quick, one page with 2 or 3 blurbs of what was happening in D.C., kind of the inside the Beltway hot scoop, and we'd rush to the fax machine when it came off, and and rip it off and look at it and see what was happening, and I was intrigued by just what was happening sociologically, with people doing that, and I thought to myself, there's got to be a for-profit business in that somehow. How can we make this happen? And I thought about that for a year or so, and then I ended up resigning from there to do a citywide political campaign, actually, to try to overturn the merger of the schools.
Yes.
And after that was done, I was without a job, and I said, well, this is my chance to try this crazy entrepreneurial idea. And it worked out. As far as I know, there's only one other city in the country that does it, and that's St. Louis. Every city in the country has a one-page deal that has like the weather or the AP headlines with all these business card advertisements on it.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Chamber of Commerce does some puff piece or something like that.
Oh, we get those too.
But as far as I know, only Chattanooga and St. Louis over the last decade are the only 2 cities that had lengthy journalistic reporting over the fax
an actual
machine.
Paper.
Yeah.
A newspaper of sorts.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to see it go, and for those who did wonder, I quit writing my column several weeks ago, basically just due to time. Time and money never go together, and I've got less of both now than I think I ever have. And but I miss it. I miss being able to put words on the page like that. And I'm really going to miss the medium. This town for years and years and years stumbled by with its it's the 2 newspapers. Of course, I loved having the 2 papers personally. But still, it was kind of 2 sides of the same coin. Good and well exactly what was going to get covered, who was going to cover it, how it was going to come out. There was nothing really unpredictable in there.
And when it came to local issues on the 2 editorial pages, they seemed to be able to circle the wagons and march in lockstep.
Boosterific. They were very, very boosterish in anything that had to do with the city, of course. And we all love our city, but sometimes you got to be harsh. Sometimes you got to be real. And God knows, TV, news has its profound weaknesses, which are very apparent around here. And then I have to say, talk radio certainly helped bust things up a little bit. I think I think Chattanoogan.com has done a superb job, and I think the Chattanooga Fax was a great little alternative medium. I know the people that were targets of it sure hated it. They didn't write it off as anything that was small and insignificant.
Well, in my first 3 years, Jesse Register refused to return my phone calls, and then finally. His handlers got to him and said, you're getting shellacked by the Chattanooga Fax. You're just getting absolutely shellacked, and you better start returning phone calls. And so for the last 4 or 5 years, there's been an interaction there.
Well, anyway, so we got 2 more of those, and then so long. And I hate to see it because, again, to me, there's just no such thing as too much information. The more information you get out there, the more opinions, the more sources you got, the better you are. I mean, the ACLU, one of their mottos is the only thing that really can properly combat bad information is more information. The answer to bad communication is more communication, and I truly do believe that. And I hate to see it happen. Well, here's what we're going to do. We'll say so long to the facts a little bit. If anybody has any particular comments, feel free. I don't guess there is any chance of this being overturned. And at any given point, this is just going to march boldly on. So
No.
come January,
No.
we'll probably see a lack of these things here, which won't hurt my guy. I can't tell you the trees we kill taking these unwanted faxes from people. I mean, I bet if we use 1 out of 100, I'd be amazed. Trying to book people on board and all this stuff. But let's come back here in a second on the commercial break. After the commercial break, I want to talk a little bit about the book, Cherokee Betrayal. This will be the second time here in just a little bit that we've actually talked about Native American situations. Yesterday on Fred the Show, we talked to the author of a book who was in town that was Black Slave Narratives, and learned a lot about a very, very unknown chapter in American history from that gentleman, and a whole lot about the Trail of Tears and about our own neck of the woods in this book here, and a very well done book too. It didn't take me long at all to read it. One of the advanced copies.
It's on sale at Amazon and at Barnes & Noble, at Hamilton Place, and downtown at All Books, which is next to Sticky
We got a couple we're
Fingers.
going to give away.
Are we?
Oh, you didn't bring those in? I thought you had a stack of them here. I didn't know what you're going to do.
Well, we'll
Build a
talk
fire?
about it over the break.
All right, 267-1023, the number, pound 102 on your Sprint PCS phone.